Hey guys, it's Schweitz with schweitzaudio here with another plugin demonstration video. Today we're going to look at Universal Audio's Fairchild 670. Some of you may or may not know it, but the 670 is kind of one of those coveted pieces of gear to use when you're at the studio. It adds a tube warmth and saturation that just can't be found anywhere else. And I really do love this emulation that Universal Audio did with it. And they gave a lot of cool features that you can have in a plugin, which makes you be able to dial it in and kind of customize it to what you need, for what you're doing. Let's take a look at this. It's pretty much looks like a Fairchild 670. We have our metering selector here. You can go from the input, gain reduction, to the output. We have channel input gain, so you can dial in what you're going to do input. You can bring it down, etc. We have over here, this is the threshold for the compression to kick in. And here we have the time constant. Now, these aren't fixed numbers. They represent different releases and attacks based on what these numbers do. You can look up in the manual and see exactly what they do, but each number does represent a different value, and it does typically reach out where 1 would be the quicker attacks and releases, on up to 6 where you can have up to, like, I think it's like a 20 or 25 second release. It just really adds to the character and what you can do with it. Down here is how it's going to detect. You're either going to do it mono or from, I think they use the left on here so that both sides compress equally. I like to run it in dual mono mode. For stereo things, it helps keeps width, and I just personally like it a lot. And then down here we have the sidechain filter. Obviously, we all know what this does. The higher we go, that part of the frequency won't be hitting the detection circuit of the compressor. Here you can link these knobs being together for the controls for the input, the output, and not the input and output, but the output and the sidechain filter here with these buttons. And then a mix where you can mix out your wet signal with your dry signal. And then they also add this right down here, these left lat and right lat DC thresholds. This changes the width of the knee in the detection circuit, and it does affect the ratio. Technically speaking, it doesn't, but as you change that, the amount of limiting is going to change, and it will eventually be a full limiter. So you can really dial it in depending on your program material. If you're hitting it a little too hard, you can pull the knee back and be a little smoother. It's really nice to have that in here. Anyways, we've gone through these controls. Let's just kind of listen to what it does. I'm going to play this track here. This is a pad from a Cold Cash Black song that I mixed for him. Shout out to him for letting us use the song. And you can just hear what this thing does. I'm going to bypass it. Gonna put it back in. I'm gonna bypass from up here. And as you can see, this thing just really brings to life that pad. We get the inside rhythm of the pad. It's almost like it becomes high def. We get that width in the stereo, which is why I do like using it in dual mono. We allows each side of the compression to react and allows that stereo field to dip around. You can use this thing on a lot of different tracks, program material, drum buses, your master fader, keyboards, stereo vocals, mono vocals. It doesn't matter. This thing just brings that warmth that tubes bring to you, and it just really sounds smooth and makes things sound better. I think what I'll do now is I'm just going to demonstrate what changing some of these sidechain filter and then this knee here, so you can kind of see what that does and hear what it does. So here we go. I'm going to start with the sidechain filter. And you can hear right away as we go down, we're getting more of those low tones from that ARP line in there, and it engages. And as we engage, we get that tube warmth and roundness. Now, obviously, if we really lay it over, we're going to start to drastically affect it. But it's really nice to be able to dial it in, especially if you have a vocal that has a lot of lows in it and you're trying to get the mids and the highs to sing a little bit. You can dial out that part and compress a little bit more of the top of the signal, and it's really nice. And now let's mess with these knee adjustments here. As you can see, we're going here, opening it up. It's getting narrower, less compression. And watch when we roll this back over. And you can really hear, you can really drastically change the characteristic of the compressor by just changing little characteristics, changing the knee width of the knee, which is how the detection curve comes out. You're changing where that goes. It changes where the program is going to turn on the compression circuit, and it's really nice to be able to dial those things in for a wide variety of sounds. I think we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to check the link up above, subscribe, go to my website, sign up for our email list, keep coming back for the YouTube videos, and as always, happy recording and thanks for tuning in.